Hello and welcome to Unikron's Gaming. Today's video is all about GunForce. But before I say anything else, let's just do that brief history. GunForce is a 1991 Irem arcade run and gun video game known for its side-scrolling action vehicle segments and being an ancestor to the Metal Slug series. And apparently this has a notoriously poor SNES port. I'll talk about that later. And the sequel, GunForce 2, aka Geostorm, I didn't really like the sequel. I did play it, but I didn't particularly like it. But anyway, yeah, that's in a nutshell, that is GunForce by Irem. Yeah, I'd never heard about this before. This game was news to me until about 4 weeks ago. Presentation. I have to say, first things first, the style of the artwork on display here, the style of the sprites, the tanks, the weapons, the turrets. I just like everything about this game from a visual standpoint. I don't know, it's you know what it is? It gives me like SWAT vibes, and with some RoboCop and a heavy dose of, I don't know what, Universal Soldier and Starship Troopers. It's really appealing to me. I do like my sci-fi stuff, and they're not like Contra soldiers. They're a bit more Probotector, but with better gameplay. So yeah, I don't know, man. The visuals are just, they really hit what I like about visual designs. They're just chunky, decent animation. Okay, the parallax scrolling is a little bit on the light side, probably basic 2 layers and stuff like that. But it's really cool. The weapons look nice. The animation for the main characters is a bit simple, but I love the different amounts of enemies that are on screen and what they look like. They're pretty cool, in my opinion. The backgrounds, obviously, it's a war-torn thing because it's on Earth, but they're varied enough. You've got bases, mountain tops, underground. It's really good. The turrets and other vehicles you can get into are really nice. The tanks and stuff like that, really good variety for them. So yeah, all in all, it's a great looking game. I would say my only negative when it comes to this game visually is the power up system, and that being that every type of power up or slight notification it gives you is all green. It would have been nice if some of them were different colors, like blue, red, yellow. This would have been a nice bit of variety there, because the game is quite colorful in itself. So I don't understand why we only got green for all the different types of power-ups that we have. So yeah, this would have been nice if we had different colors, blue, red, yellow. Basically Skittlify these power-ups, man. Make them look like Skittle colors. But yeah, that's about it really, which is pretty cool. That's the only negative. Audio. So the sound effects for this game are nice and clear. I just don't think there's enough of them. The guns realistically sound very similar. I think only the laser sounds really unique, but most of the guns sound very similar, which is a shame. The screams when you die sound very Golden Axe-y, like ah! Which I do like. The guy sounds like he's in pain, or you're Universal Soldier, or whatever you are. But yeah, so that's nice. Apart from that, yeah, the sound effects, the explosions are okay. They're cool. This game came out in 1991 in the arcades, so I'm sure they could have added some extra RAM. The reason why I want extra RAM is because I want speech in this game. I don't understand how there's not enough speech. I mean, RoboCop had quite a bit of speech. This game, that's the only thing it's missing. Just a bit of speech like here. No speech, just him talking. Well, not, you know what I mean, it's just text and you're talking in your head because you're reading it. But yeah, it could have done with some speech. It just could have done with some speech. So, man. And a bit more oomph for the explosions as well. I know I really spoke about the explosions, but a bit more oomph for them would be nice. So yeah, but alas, we don't have that. But we can say the background music is pretty nice. I actually do like some of the tunes on offer here. I can't remember which one it was, but one of them was really cool and I really liked it. So yeah, overall, for me, the audio, it's a touch on the weak side, I would say. Simply because I think the game needed speech. I don't understand why it doesn't have it. The stage musics are, I think, the star when it comes to the audio. The machine guns are a little bit, well, the weapons in general are a little bit samey. Same for the enemy weapons as well. A little bit samey, they don't really sound that different. The boss music is really cool though. The bosses have their own theme music, so I like that. That is really nice. I like when games, you know, they just say, look, this is a boss now, something's different, and they make you aware audibly. So that's nice with it. I don't know who the composers are who made the music for this game, but I'm gonna say this. The music in this game reminds me so much of Sly Spy, Secret Agent, and the Rolling Thunder, the original Rolling Thunder. I don't know, it just gives me those vibes, and to be honest, that's a great thing because I think those games are great when it comes to their music. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else feels the same way. Do you think it sounds like Rolling Thunder or Sly Spy? It just, I don't know, it just has that sound. Perhaps it's the hardware that it's made, and perhaps those two games have the same hardware from the arcade. First up, I'd like to say that I wish I could have played this game in 2-player, but it wasn't to be, so I'm only talking about this game from a 1-player experience, unfortunately. One of my favourite things about this game is the stuff you can jump into, you know, like tanks, turrets, heavy vehicles, dinghies, all that stuff. I think that is great. I mean, they lean into it so much. And a lot of games had that, but not in the way that these games, so not these games, sorry, that GunForce does. GunForce is, you're always on something. It's just mixing and changing things up, even more than like Metal Slug, even though obviously this came before Metal Slug. But yeah, I love that about this game. Absolutely love it. Any power-ups that you get, or I don't know if you want to call them upgrades, they're not permanent. They have a limited amount of ammo, but I do feel that that's a great thing here. So the game doesn't get too easy. You get to a point where you like certain weapons. If it's oh yeah, the laser, this, that, and you miss them when they're gone. But they are really nice. All the upgrades. Actually, even the flamethrower is actually good. I was gonna say the flamethrower is not good, but the flamethrower is actually pretty good in this game. So my favorite being the laser though. That's my absolute favorite. For me personally, I'm not the biggest run and gun fan out there. I don't necessarily go out looking for them. They would need to interest me at least visually before I even try them. And with this game, it did that. But I have to say, the character that you control, he is very smooth in the way that you can control him. He's not particularly stiff. And I think that's probably because the soldier is quite nifty. He's not sluggish at all. And the fact that you can shoot in 8 different directions. Yeah, he can crouch, he can jump and shoot at the same time. They didn't make him awkward just for the sake of being awkward. Some of the enemies are, but you yourself are not. And in 2-player mode, this game probably would shine. I can see 2 people playing this game and beating it on 1 credit. I honestly can, or minimal credits in 2-player mode. So yeah, it's a very well put together game. I didn't know what to expect when I was coming into it, but yeah, I can see why Metal Slug took a lot of inspiration from this game, because obviously Metal Slug X is my favorite run and gun, and now this is my second favorite run and gun. I really like this game. It plays so well. It plays so well. The bosses can be a little bit cheap, to be honest. But with practice, I'm sure I could beat them, each boss, with minimal deaths. So yeah, they have patterns. Think of it like Shadow Dancer, or I don't know, RoboCop, those, or SWAT. You know, those type of games that initially seem like, actually, RoboCop's always going to be hard no matter what you do. But the other games, you know, some arcade games where you just learn the patterns and you can just beat them ridiculously. So I think this is one of those games, which I do prefer, those type of arcade games where if you learn a pattern you can just beat the bosses. I don't think games should just be ultra hard just because we're trying to get your money. Yeah, that's cool, but it can be very annoying. But this game, I don't think is one of those type of games, in my opinion. So to wrap up and give my overall opinion and thoughts, I think this game's excellent. This game is absolutely brilliant. It's, like I said before, it's my second favourite run and gun now. It's there alongside, well, not alongside, but it's just one rung underneath Metal Slug X. Yeah, I think this game is excellent. It's really, really good. You know what? It gives me the best feeling of Sly Spy, Secret Agent, SWAT, Turrican, Contra, and the better Metal Slug games. It's got all the best parts of that. Yeah, and it just, the gameplay, it just feels right. You know, we play an arcade game that just feels right. That's what this is. So yeah. Bonus round. Righty ho then. GunForce on the Super Nintendo, or Super NES, or as I like to call it, the SNES. So yeah, GunForce on the SNES. Here's a port. Sprites look nice. They're not the correct size, but they look nice. Animation is okay. Not quite as good as arcade. Some of the backgrounds look nice. You can see, you know what? Visually, it looks nice for a port. Visually, it looks nice. Yeah, it's just something's just off about it, and obviously has less sprites. The gunplay isn't as good. It's got lots of slowdown in there. Your typical SNES fare with slowdown, unfortunately. I don't know how the hell the Contra games did it on the SNES, and this game just couldn't. But I suppose it is what it is. The talent, I suppose. Who knows? But yeah, this game's got quite a bit of slowdown. The vehicles are smaller. They're not as good. The game is a lot easier on the Super Nintendo because of the slowdown. The music I found wasn't as good for me personally. It's got the same bosses, which is nice. It's 2-player. It'd probably be even worse in 2-player because the slowdown be even worse, I'm assuming. Especially if you get a couple of the big weapons. But yeah, overall, I read that it's notoriously bad. For me, I've played worse ports on the Super Nintendo of games. Captain Commando being one. I mean, come on, that port's horrendous. So when people say this is a bad port, nah, it's an okay port. You generally get a decent representation of the arcade game. Not as good, which is true. I mean, given a choice, which one would I play? I'm going to play the arcade every day. I'm going to play the arcade version every day rather than this. It's sluggish, it's slow at points. The weapons aren't as good, but generally it's still a decent run and gun. I don't know how much it did cost. I think back in the day the SNES games were around about £40 odd, £45. I wouldn't have bought this game for £45. This would have had to be like second hand or on a sale for like 15 to get my money. But you know, it is what it is. So that's GunForce arcade and Super Nintendo. Like I said, I'd never even heard of this game. I'm glad I played it. I think it's great. Have you guys played it? Have you guys even heard of it? Tell me what you think. This is probably my last video for 2025. I'll see you again in the new year. I hope you all are well. I'll see you soon. Peace out.